Hi, I'm Nina Bosky, and welcome to Life Bites, where each and every week we'll get you inspired in the areas of life, business, and media. We'll help you dare, dream, do, and be so you can get out of your head into your soul in order to tune in and take a bite. This week, we're getting you life inspired. Hi, everybody. I'm Nina Bosky, and welcome to Life Bites in this life-inspired episode. I am so excited for my next guest who's with us this week. She's one of my favorite people. She is a technology veteran, over 40 years in the technology business, and owns her own consultancy firm. But that's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about a new lifestyle brand that this guest, her name is June Bardwell, has created. And the reason why I want to have her on the show this week is because it's not about just a product. It's not just about a brand. It's about a message. So with that said, June, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nina. I am thrilled to be part of your podcast. And as always, so happy to be speaking with you.
It's a lot of fun you and I have had throughout the years, but we also have gone through a lot in our lives. And one of the reasons why I wanted to share your brand, your message with people is to inspire, to give people hope, and to also show compassion and understanding, particularly when we go through some challenging times. So tell us a little bit about purejunelife.com and how did it come about?
Thank you. So there is one product on the website, but the website really isn't focused on the product itself. Like you said, it's really about lifestyle. And the name Pure June Life comes actually from my own name, June. June means pure in Japanese, and my mother's Japanese. And June is a name that can be used both in English and in Japan. Hence, it worked for both cultures and on my mother and my father's side. And originally it started out as the product, which is a skincare product that my mother learned how to make from her own mother. There you go.
Yes, and this is it. I was just unwrapping it. I'm actually, as you're talking, I'm going to unwrap it so people can actually see the
Oh, thank you.
My bottle's almost done. I love it. I
love
it.
I'll have to get you another bottle ASAP. But my mother had the most beautiful skin, and thank you, Nina. And it's not just because she stayed out of the sun and she followed the traditional Japanese practices of women who took care of their skin, but it was also because of the skincare treatment that her mother taught her how to make. And it's 4 simple natural ingredients. And I used to give away bottles of this stuff to my girlfriends. And then a few people said, you should do something with it. But I'm just not a skincare maven. I mean, I've got this one product I've used for over 30 years, but it's, I'm not prepared to create a skincare industry.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Thank you. But, as life unfolded, a lot of things happened. I got married in my 40s, which was wonderful. And in my early 50s, my husband died. And going through that loss and just living through the mourning and the grieving of losing somebody that meant so much to me, I realized that, life isn't all about skincare. Life isn't all about work. It's something else. It's something bigger than us. And as I was moving forward and moving through this whole journey of grief and healing, I thought, someday I want to share what I went through so that other women and men in my position don't feel so lonely and so isolated. And so I thought I'd like to write a book. Well, that's a daunting process, as you know. And what happened was over the pandemic, when I had a lot more free time on my hands, That's where I created the website, purejunelife.com. And it is a website about lifestyle. And like you said earlier, it's something that I created to share my own experiences, my resources that's helped me through love, through loss, through beauty, through aging. And I hope that it inspires other people to take care of themselves and put themselves as a priority. Because if we don't make ourselves a priority, then we can't take care of anybody else. And it's about connecting that inner beauty with our outer beauty. So, does that help?
It does help. It does help. And one of the things that I love about what you're doing is that there's always, with brand messaging, there's always, oh, what's the hook? What's the hook? And in this case, it's not about the hook. It's really about the message and inspiring mainly women and some men, I'm sure, to discover themselves and to understand themselves a lot more. And I love how you intertwine certain things. And I want to give an example. When you get the product, you actually get a little affirmations. So tell us how you're actually supposed to use this product, because it's not just, oh, let me clean my face and put something on it. There is an intention behind Pure June Life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about affirmations first. Back in the day, I used to think that affirmations were meant for people who just listen to panpipe music. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, that's just a little too woo-woo for me. And in my early 40s, when I was single and I had no prospects really, and I wasn't really dating anybody, but I wanted to get married, my spiritual teacher, who you know, Nina, suggested that I try something different and try writing an affirmation. And I thought, affirmation? Like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so he helped me draft an affirmation, which is about whatever it is that your intention is, you want it to be in the present as if it's already happened. And so I struggled a lot, but I came up with an affirmation and I started repeating it daily, many times a day. And lo and behold, I met the man that I was supposed to get married to.
Yeah, and let me just say this. It wasn't just you met the man you were supposed to be married to. You met him in a whirlwind. Talk about soul connection. So tell us a little bit about that, because they get to read about it too on the website.
Oh, thank you. So you knew Jim, and he was a very large personality and very emotive personality, which, I think I'm more of a disciplined type of approach to life. And we got married very, very quickly. We got engaged within 11 days of meeting each other and were married within 5 months. And spontaneity is not something that people would use a word to
describe you.
Describe me, exactly. But I knew that it was right. And that it's that still small voice in our hearts, in that space in our hearts where we just know. And sometimes it's when we are actually separated from the outcome. It's actually always when we're separated from the outcome, when that intuition really speaks to us. And I didn't even have to think twice about it. And after Jim died, I met another man who I'm engaged to now. And again, it was through an affirmation. When I met Stephen, I met him through a dating app. And I had sworn I was never going to use a dating app. And I told my spiritual teacher, Guru Singh, about that. I said, I'm using a dating app, but nothing's going to come of it. And he said, you know what? You just continue living that self-fulfilling prophecy, June. And I thought, oh my God, he's right. If I'm going to do this, I really have to put some effort into it. So I wrote an affirmation and I repeated it several times a day. And I still repeat that same affirmation because I am so grateful to have Stephen in my life and to have this, again, love of my life I've been blessed with.
And for people that may think that, oh, Jim passed away and then I met Stephen, it was a journey.
It was a very long journey.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that journey, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in, oh, the next step, success, which
Yeah,
is, oh, somebody passes, well, I now found love again. But tell us more
yeah,
about what happened during that journey for you.
yeah. After Jim, well, first of all, when Jim was diagnosed with leukemia, I was so ill-equipped to just deal with any of that, like, just dealing with the healthcare system and having to work full time and take care of him while he was hospitalized. And then 5 weeks later, he was gone. I
So
mean,
from beginning to end in terms of his passing was 5 weeks.
5 weeks
Wow.
gone.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And so I had barely gotten my head wrapped around the fact that he was sick and very, very sick. And then he was dead.
Wow.
And in my entire life, I probably attended 5 funerals, and none of them were people I was particularly close to. So I was, again, so ill-equipped to deal with any of this. Like, I didn't even know what a wake was.
And June, I mean, knowing Jim the way that, I did and most people, those larger than life personalities, when they leave this earth, it's shocking.
Yeah.
So I know that that was a really big time for you. So here you are now having to deal with a funeral. Then what?
And this is something I wrote about on my website. At some point, the medical bills are paid off, the funeral is finished, the celebration of life is over, and now it's adjusting to a completely different life. It's adjusting to waking up every morning in a bed by yourself. It's adjusting to, should I wear my wedding ring or not wear my wedding ring anymore? It's adjusting to, where is he? It's adjusting to, am I ever going to feel okay again? Am I ever going to be able to smile or laugh or feel peace in my heart? And Nina, that was the number one thing for me. I just wanted to have peace in my heart because I was so wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
And what helped me were friends, obviously, people like you, my family, my spiritual teacher, and believe it or not, lots of strangers. It's unbelievable how people just stepped up and helped out so much. Also, a great therapist. And I just had to learn how to take care of myself. And one thing that I did consistently, and this is going to sound a little strange, is I had a massage every 2 weeks. It's so important for us as humans to have that tactile touch. And I knew it would be a long time, if not maybe forever, that anybody would ever, like hug me again or kiss me again. And not having that, I knew was going to be detrimental to my healing. So I had a massage therapist come to my house every 2 weeks and give me a massage just so that somebody would be touching me.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially like I said, the bigger than life. And he was such a touchy feely type of guy that had to
Yeah.
have been a real challenge to have that loss. So what was some of the things that you remember that were the challenging things? Meaning not just the lack of touch, but also with Jim, that level of what people do through grief. Everybody has a different grieving
Yes.
process. But I
Yeah.
remember when he passed, some people were always wanting you to move on before it was time, your time.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna get back out there again? I mean, some of that stuff when you're not ready can be very shocking and disturbing to your own, mind, body, spirit. So tell us how you dealt with that.
I had to just be true to what I knew was going to work for me for my healing process. And I had just come to a point where I realized and knew and was so grateful for the fact that I had something that most people would like to have and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fine if I went for the rest of my life and was never in another relationship again. It was okay because I got to experience what many people want to but don't get to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helped me get to a place of peace in my heart. It also helped me to know that there were other people who managed to have great losses and also have fulfilling lives later. There had been a couple that I knew in my neighborhood in my 30s. And to me, they were like the gold standard of a husband and wife, of a marriage, right? And he died unexpectedly and tragically. And then 18 months later, their son died unexpectedly and tragically. And as I was going through my journey of grief, I wondered whatever happened with her, you know. And so I managed to find one of her sons and contacted him, and he said, I'll never forget this. He said, you know what? Mom's doing okay. She remarried. Dawn is not the same as dad, but he treats her so well, and she's very happy.
Gave me chills. It gave
Oh,
me
and
chills, you know?
Nina, that gave me hope. Like, okay, if her life turned out to be okay and fulfilling, and she's happy, and as wonderful as a marriage as she had with her husband, maybe there's hope for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Just that I can be happy again, feel happy again.
Well, and I think one of the things that you're saying, or what he said, was he's not dad, he's different.
Yeah.
And you know, the same is true. Stephen is not Jim, nor does he have to be.
Not at all. And the thing that we need to remember is that as we get older, that we have a different version of ourselves that we've left behind. You know, it's still part of us, but it's a different version of ourselves. And now we're a new version of ourselves.
You know, that's interesting you should say that. I remember interviewing Tom Dreesen, who's a comedian who used to travel around with Frank Sinatra. And Frank Sinatra was married 4 times. And he was basically saying, who's the love of your life? And he goes, well, in my 20s, it was my first wife, right? But going all the way back, you know, Ava was passion. That was my passion time. And when I got to my 60s with his last wife, it was where he needed to be in that part of his life. So he couldn't actually answer the question because each phase of his life represented a part of it.
That totally makes sense to me.
You know, and so let's get back to the website.
Mm-hmm.
So there is these stories, a story of love, story of loss. How does that integrate into this lifestyle brand? And what do you want people to get out of the blog and the product at the same time, if you can share that with us?
Well, in terms of how it fits into a whole lifestyle, it's about being aware. And it's so hard for us to be aware and conscious every moment of the day, especially if we're working, if we're raising children, if we're doing, you know, all of the above. And sometimes sometimes all we can do is just have a minute to ourselves. That's it. But let's make the most of that minute. And so that's why the skincare product that I have is called Pure Essence. And it is just pure essence, or very simple, clean ingredients.
Yes, love it.
To bring glow to your skin and
you know what it is too, June, is that when I use it, it's like my face loves it. And I didn't bring it with me somewhere I was traveling. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have that feeling, you know? So it's a great feeling, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. It's nourishing for your skin, and it's also nourishing for your soul. So the reason I've included those affirmations is so that it can give us, using the skincare product, Pure Essence, twice a day, in less than 1 minute every day, you can connect with your true self and just give yourself a solo moment. Because honestly, sometimes that's all we have.
Oh, you know, there's so many people. I remember asking one of my clients, I said, you know, how do you feel? And she goes, I don't know. I haven't asked myself that question in such a long time.
Yeah.
And so we become almost robotic in our natures of what we do each and every day instead of how we feel. And so I'm gonna read a couple of these. This is one on love. I am in a loving romantic relationship that is mutually respectful, kind, and devoted to the well-being of each other. This person, my life partner, consistently demonstrates her love for me by inserting something meaningful, right? How they do that, as I do for him or her. And then you have one on healing anxiety and finances, but you can make up your own, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I love the fact that you are, as we're doing our beauty routines, you could be very intentional about what it is and how you want to feel and what you want in your life through these affirmations, which is wonderful. It's a great idea and a wonderful way to talk about multitasking.
Yeah, it's the best way to multitask, right? While you're doing something for your outer beauty and also connecting with your inner beauty.
Inner beauty. I love that. That's such a beautiful way of using products and having that meaningful expression and output, the input and the output. But talk to me a little bit about the writings that you have in your blog. What's the main message for that you want people to get out of, besides being aware? Because your story is deep. It's layered with a lot of wisdom.
Well, thank you. And it's also layered with a lot of mistakes.
Don't we all, June? Don't we all make those mistakes?
Well, I'll just take the theme of love. I mean, I think that every human being on earth wants to have that special someone and meet that person that they have that heart-to-heart soul connection. And it's so difficult to meet that person, especially, and I hate to sound like because everybody says this, but I think it's especially difficult in Los Angeles. There's a lot of beautiful people here, and there's a lot of people who can cover up a lot of what they don't want other people to see.
Well, we're living in such a quick fix society with little sound bites. And so I can sound great in a sound bite, but do I actually live up to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with the way that we actually date now, it's just it's a swipe, and so you have so many options as well. I love the fact that you're actually allowing people to be aware and to possibly just slow down and be more intentional about what they're creating.
And I think that I know that I certainly had my laundry list of what I wanted in a partner in my 20s and my 30s and in my 40s, and it changed. And over time, as I got to know myself better, and I had to become very, very honest with myself as to why am I not meeting the right person? Why am I continually getting involved with men who don't make me a priority? And I wrote on my web, if any of these guys had been a business deal, I would have walked away, within like weeks, right? Or days. And some of these relationships went on for years.
Hey, I've been there too, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And whose fault was that? Like, nobody had a gun to my head saying, June, stay in this relationship. And it was because of insecurity. It was because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I was worthy of somebody who really put me as a priority. It's like, wow, I feel sad for that woman. That was me. Yeah. And until I admitted to myself, I am valuable. I am worthy. I'm a good person, and a good man should want to be with me. But it took a long time to get there.
Yeah, but you know what? You have been able to not only experience a soulful love, a romantic love that a lot of people never will in this lifetime, but also finding love again in a different form than Jim, but just as powerful in a different way. And I think I love the message that you're also giving is hope.
Yeah.
And I think that this blog, particularly for people who have loved and lost, I think this is a really important message to give people that inspiration that life does go on, but you've got to lean into it and you've got to become aware and intentional about what it is you want to create.
And grateful.
And grateful. I
That
love
is,
that.
it's not just about being aware, it's also about being aware of your gratitude.
Mm.
And we all know, journaling is good for us. Keeping that gratitude list or making that gratitude list, keeping up with it, and that can become robotic as well. And once that happens, forget it. You might as well not even be doing it. But to be intentional and to be aware and be present takes a lot of work. And that's why I use that skincare product as a bridge to do that.
I love it. Pure Essence is the actual product, but it's purejunelife.com. We have it right here on the screen for you. And just love the messaging. I love your wisdom. There's so many beautiful nuggets in reading your story and reading about your life that we can all identify with. Because I don't know about you, but when I see a product that's out there or I hear somebody and they're telling me about how wonderful life is, that's great. But that's actually a result of something. A lot of times we don't see the makings of the mistakes, the challenges, the successes, the love, the losses, and everything that goes into a life. And I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today to be able to help somebody that may be looking to improve not only their outer beauty, but their inner beauty as well.